Great to have Keith Hackett and Brian Deane joining me, Alan Biggs, for the Sheffield version of the Ref Show. And rather like the national show, we don't have a great deal of criticism, and that's always good for the referees involved in the two Sheffield matches. Sheffield United winning 2-0 at Barnsley, Keith. Andrew Madley, well, Madley's a familiar name. That's Robert Madley's brother.
Well, yeah, absolutely, and I think a referee who many regard as better than his brother and tipped for elevation to the Premier League. That'd be interesting if that happens.
Right, there were no after-match recriminations whatsoever, which is always a good sign for a referee. And there weren't any either, not serious ones anyway, on Sheffield Wednesday 1, Huddersfield 1. This was Mark Hayward. Although I did have a query on Twitter from somebody taking the referee to task. Inaccurately, actually, I'm pretty sure, Keith, because at one stage of that game, a Huddersfield defender deliberately knocked the ball back to his goalkeeper with his knee. The goalkeeper picked it up, and there were howls from the stadium that it was a back pass. But they hadn't read the laws of the game.
No, it has to be with the boot. So you can head it back, you can chest it back, or you can use the knee. And that's credit to the player, because the player obviously knows the laws of the game and has responded to that.
And so does the goalkeeper in picking it up.
Correct.
He knew he could do.
Correct. So often I think players are criticised, they don't know the laws, but in fact, they know the game, and the majority do know the laws of the game.
Brian, you were at Elland Road. Lots going off the field there. On the field, not going well for Leeds either, losing to Blackburn 3-0. Gary Sutton was the referee, and there was one big turning point in that game, wasn't there? Big incident.
Yeah, it was a corner, and it's where Rudy Austin got sent off. Now, I didn't see the incident, but you know, somebody said that he did touch him. But you know, what's coming back is that it's like he shoved Rudy Austin shoved the player in his chest, and he's got sent off. But it was the linesman who brought it to the referee's attention, and you know, he got sent off from there. Changed the game. You know, I mean, you know, perhaps Blackburn were on top at the time, but there was no way back for Leeds from there.
I think people were mystified at the time, couldn't believe he'd been sent off.
Yeah, there was a little bit of discussion going on the pitch as well, but I suppose once a decision's made like that, there's not a lot you can do.
Neil Redfern said he'd watched it back several times, the Leeds manager, and just couldn't work out. He said felt there was grounds for an appeal.
Well, if he thinks...
Slight shove in the chest, it was...
Well, I mean, given what we see, you know, we talked about grappling, didn't we, at the beginning of the season? It's still there. Given that sort of thing, if somebody's holding that particular player and he's pushing him away, then he's pushed him away.
It's not a red card, though.
Well, I mean, my instructions to the assistant is, if you want a player sending off, I want to be 200% certain. I want to have seen it with my own eyes to some degree. And I think here is a case where he's probably less experienced. He's come in thinking, I'm going to get involved, and then mayhem. But if the manager thinks that there's grounds for appeal, he should appeal, in fairness to the player.
Brian, there have been some great goals over the weekend, and Charlie Austin scoring from 10 yards inside his own half. You'd never...
Charlie Adams.
Charlie Adams, yes, Charlie Adams, thank you very much. There's a non-referee making a mistake. Maybe I should miss a match next week, or at least be shown a yellow card for that. Maybe Charlie Austin could do it as well, I don't know.
Could.
But I wanted to pick up with you not just that goal, but the Bobby Zamora goal for QPR. Because I know you scored a long-distance goal for Sheffield United against Liverpool from way out on the touchline. But there's a goal that Zamora scored, running away from goal, right to the right-hand side of the goal, and unexpectedly, with the outside of his left foot, sends it into the far corner via the crossbar. Have you ever scored a goal like that?
I'm sure I have.
Well, the long one that he scored, it must be in the annals as being one of the great goals that was scored by a United player.
But is that the kind of goal you'd love to have said that you'd scored? Because it was just the outside of the left foot.
I think as a centre forward, you know, if you look at the goals over the weekend, there were some very good goals. But as a centre forward, as somebody who plays down the middle, you know, actually making that run out there, and then the skill to get it back across the goalkeeper over his head. It's a little bit different to the volley, because you know, many players score volleys like that, like Jermaine Defoe's. Wayne Rooney's excellent. Again, that's a good centre forward, world-class finish. But I just felt the Zamora one was something that you know, it's the way how the game was flowing at the time, and it's a good way to finish the game as a centre forward running onto a ball to put it back across there. The skill to do that was fantastic.
And I know you'd love to have scored it.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, yeah.
Keith and I would
Before
too.
you finish, I was in the director's box a few weeks ago at Bramall Lane. I always enjoy going there, but despite the fact that I'm a Wednesday night, I get a bit of a ribbon before I go in. But it was interesting because one of the fans sat near to me sort of said, what we need as a club is Brian Deane. We need somebody like Brian Deane. And I sat there, having watched Brian on many occasions, I think that's exactly what they need at the moment is Sheffield United.
Yeah, he's available.
They need a centre forward that can actually hit the back of the net.
What are they waiting for? He's here. He looks fit too. Thanks ever so much, guys.
Pleasure.
Join us again for another Sheffield Ref Show next week. Bye.